Hello, and welcome to On Point. I'm Victor Bretado. Social media is a place where anything and anyone can get popular, which can lead to creators starting trends that can be dangerous. Viral challenges like trying to swallow a spoonful of cinnamon may seem harmless, but doctors say accidentally inhaling the powder could cause significant health risks. These challenges pop up all the time. Many of them gain traction after appearing on TikTok, especially on the app's Explore page. As people like and share them, even more users attempt the challenges. Sometimes they can even turn deadly. Just this past summer, The Verge reported that 7 children under the age of 15 died after attempting a challenge that encourages users to choke themselves with belts, strings, or similar items. The New York Times says multiple parents sued TikTok over this challenge, also known as the Blackout Challenge. The parents alleged TikTok knew the challenge was addictive.
In my personal opinion, I don't think that it's a lot of people that do that. It's like people that don't have that matureness in their mind to do that kind of stuff. Um, I just think I wouldn't put my life at risk for doing something like that.
But new risks keep popping up. According to the Washington Post, the FDA issued a warning about a challenge encouraging users to marinate their chicken in NyQuil. So why do social media challenges start trending? And what's the role of parents, the government, or platforms like TikTok? Can they do anything to stop the most dangerous trends or lessen their impact? On Point's Andre Lopez has more.
Thank you, Victor. Today we have Dr. Leslie Gonzalez from Chicago. She's a resident physician from Cook County Hospital. Thank you so much for coming on today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
So the discussion today revolves around viral challenges and TikTok. So for some of the audience who might not know and just your experience with it, would you mind describing what TikTok is?
Yes, of course. So TikTok is essentially a social media platform where people can upload videos. A lot of the time, these videos have to do with things that are trending. Think maybe dance moves, songs, sometimes even challenges.
Got you, challenges. Got you. So you're saying it can range anywhere from music to art to dance moves to challenges. In your experience, what are some of the challenges you've seen just in your use with the app?
Yes. So some of the challenges that I've seen usually revolve around perhaps pranking people. Sometimes they even are challenges as to challenging the person on their limit. Think limit of how much water you can drink or how much food can you eat or how long can you hold your breath for. Think of a challenge as trying to exceed the limit.
Exceeding the limit. Got it. So being that you would be exceeding the limit, maybe like physical boundaries perhaps, would you say that some of these challenges would be dangerous at all to some of the users trying to participate in these challenges?
100%. Yes. Especially as you kindly mentioned physical boundaries. And our body is meant to withstand a lot of stressors and a lot of, the everyday type of demands. But when we push our bodies past a certain point, it can only handle so much. And that's when these challenges can go south.
In your experience, being that you are a doctor and you are a very prominent figure on TikTok, has your work and your career, has that impacted your use on TikTok at all? And being that, have you used your work and to kind of allow your followers to learn about the challenges and dangers of these challenges?
Yeah, definitely. I think that my profession and my usage of the platform has actually had a positive impact on the community on TikTok because I do try to educate the audience on the importance of not trying these challenges and proceeding with caution. I think a lot of it has to do with approaching the population on TikTok, which tends to be a much more younger population, in a way that they'll understand it, and it's not so I guess it's so educational that you feel like you're at school again, but also entertaining at the same time. So what I like to do is edutain. So it kind of like a cross between educating and entertaining the audience, so that they learn in a fun way but they're still learning at the same time.
Nice, nice, nice. I know you were talking about how TikTok, a lot of its users are younger people, people under the age of 18, for example, or just children. Do you feel that there was a report released early this year by CNN that TikTok released a statement stating that it would promote certified content creators to make videos encouraging followers to, quote, stop, think, decide, and act as a part of a messaging campaign? Do you think steps like this are more positive or negative as far as TikTok taking steps to mitigate the risky behavior?
Definitely positive. I think that's a great campaign of TikTok to have, because the more these audiences on TikTok see content by creators on this platform, that they should stop before they act, and think before they act, they'll eventually actually do that when it comes to viewing the TikTok video challenges. So I 100% think that is a positive step in the right direction.
Do you have any personal experience with that in regards to, I know you said yourself you promote safety with your channels. Do you have anything similar to that? Maybe not necessarily them directly reaching out to you for this messaging campaign, but have you had any personal experience with maybe, for example, the blackout challenge, or I know recently there was a Tide Pod challenge as well. Was there any experience with that and kind of mitigating that at all?
Yeah, so I haven't seen it pop up in the hospital or in the emergency room, but I have been very vigilant in the comments section when people talk about these certain challenges, and trying to approach it in a way where I can come from a place of understanding and also educate these individuals.
Perfect, perfect. So I wanted to inform you, in February, Corman Keenan, the head of trust and safety at TikTok, released a statement citing that TikTok is focused on creating policies that prioritize safety, inclusion, and authenticity. Do you think TikTok has been maintaining that policy goal so far? And if not, how do you believe they can do better?
Yes, I 100% believe that they are following through with that statement and with that goal for themselves. I feel very welcomed on the platform as a Latina physician, and I feel like my content is received really, really well. And they do listen to what I have to say as a Latina content creator on TikTok. I do think that is something that they're very good at, is listening to their creators and to their users as well. I don't necessarily think they need to improve on anything in terms of diversity. I think they're doing a great job. I think getting more of the users to participate and give feedback will be something that they could work on a little bit.
And so you should work on a little bit in regards to getting more feedback from the actual active followers and users. How do you feel the app itself could do that, as opposed to be more active with followers, especially when a lot of the when followers do tend to be active, they can go into dangerous challenges that we were speaking about?
Yes, so definitely the voices who are most heard on a platform like this are definitely going to be the content creators, because they're creating the content, their voice is out there. But the people that they all should focus on should be the silent user who watches these videos, who perhaps doesn't have a bigger say, such as content creators. Something that they could implement could be some type of safeguard where it allows the app to tell you hey, you watched a couple of videos in terms of this challenge, and kind of give a warning of saying participating in this challenge can lead to dangerous outcomes. So just kind of a warning, letting you know this the person who's viewing the content and who's trying to perhaps think of whether they should do the challenge or not, let them know hey, this isn't safe, just letting you know. And that can prompt the user to stop, think, and then act.
Perfect, perfect. So I know we were more so we've been focusing on what the app itself can do with TikTok as a whole, as the app being that they control the app for the most part. They create the algorithm. They know what's in their app for the most part. What would you say users could do to keep themselves safe in regards to interacting with these challenges? I know you said think, act, and that's more so the messaging from TikTok, but what do you feel users, maybe not necessarily taking advice from TikTok, but what can users and followers do to keep themselves safe from, participating in these kind of challenges?
I think a lot of it has to do with introspective searching. So thinking, why do I want to do this challenge? What will the outcome be if I do this challenge? A lot of it has to do with self-reflection, because we actively and passively consume content on social media, and sometimes you're not aware of what you're seeing and what you're doing. So I think it's important for not only the users on this platform, but for users on all social media platforms to think, what did I just consume? What did I just spend an hour looking at? Is this something that is healthy for me?
So now you were talking about just is the kind of content we need to be critically thinking about it to see kind of whether this is helping me or whether this is positively impacting the user on TikTok. How do you feel that as of late we've seen social media accounts such as Twitter kind of take a really big step in blocking people, such as the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, for example? He's no longer allowed on TikTok, and that kind of blurs the lines of like what government can and can't do in regards to social media companies, being that they are private companies. Just what is your take on that? Do you feel that the government should be getting involved in regards to challenges that are obviously a very real and physical threat to so many people?
Yeah, well, that's a good question, right? Because we saw how misinformation can get spread on social media with the COVID pandemic. And I saw it firsthand in the hospital and in clinics, how misinformation can really take a hold of people, and can really cause some negative effects in one's health, even death. So the lines are blurred there. They definitely are. And it's not a yes or no answer, and it's not a black and white answer. There's some gray area there. And we have to think, when is it okay for an agency to step in and say, we're censoring this person? And we really have to critically think when that is indicated. And I personally think when misinformation that can negatively affect an individual's health and livelihood is being spread by individuals, then that warrants some type of censoring.
So, being that you feel that there would be some warranted form of censoring, do you feel that in the near future there would be any form of censure? Being that as of late, I know certain things, there's age restrictions on TikTok now. Do you feel that things like that are gonna positively impact the app to kind of facilitate who's using the app and maybe not gear it more so towards younger audience, or do you not maybe feel that's a step in the right direction?
I don't think it's the only answer. I think it's part of the solution. It definitely would help in trying to control who views said content, because not all content on social media and on TikTok, as we start talking about, is created for children. And so as people, as parents, it's very hard to monitor every single thing your child does. So safeguards like that, age restrictions, are necessary to a certain extent. So perhaps, the age restrictions for these apps may hinder some people's access to these platforms, but given that it's proven to be dangerous for some individuals to consume this type of media, it might be an answer for some.
I know a little bit earlier we were discussing just the general things and tools people can use to mitigate these challenges going viral and spreading. A little more just because we were talking more so that TikTok and these challenges are the dangers of them are that they impact younger kids. Do you feel like maybe there's things parents can do in addition to the age restriction that the TikTok already implements? Are things parents can do to, further help their kids stay away from the challenges? Granted, you just said, you can't monitor everything your child does, but are there other things parents can do?
Yes, there's definitely a lot of things they can do. One of the things they can most likely do is make sure that you know the passwords of these platforms of your children. Make sure that if you do know the passwords and have access to these accounts, there's a way to filter certain content, certain comments, some sort of misinformation that you might not want your child to see. And you can do that through the settings. Another thing that you can do is be present when your child is scrolling through these TikTok videos and see these videos with them. Especially for the very young children, if they shouldn't be seeing something in your presence, in the parents' presence, that you wouldn't want them to see otherwise. So it's really up to the parent to be a little bit more present when children are consuming this type of media, and having some safeguards around when they can consume that media, how they can consume the media, and for how much period of time in a day.
A little bit earlier, you spoke to the realities of misinformation and how it can lead to death, especially something as big as COVID-19. How do you feel TikTok has been able to mitigate that? Granted, it's not necessarily to the extent of the physical challenges where people are getting harmed, but there is dangers in misinformation, being that it kind of allows their environment in TikTok to make space for things that aren't necessarily true to go viral. So how do you feel TikTok kind of helps monitor the misinformation?
Definitely, there's a lot. I know that for COVID-19, something that was implemented, that when that subject is brought up in posts on TikToks or whatnot, a little banner appears at the bottom that gives kind of like a disclaimer, like this is talking about COVID-19. For information, more information on COVID-19, follow this link. And that is a great way to allow the person to make more educated decisions on whether the content they're consuming is accurate. Another thing that they've done as well is to give people like myself platforms, big platforms where we talk about science, and where we talk about health, and where we talk about how to critically think through some of that misinformation that sometimes is presented on social media. And I think there's a lot of content creators like myself that are healthcare providers who have done a wonderful job of explaining why there's misinformation in the community, and then debunking those myths and trying to educate the masses.
Earlier, you mentioned the silent user. So what kind of user do you think would be most susceptible to these kind of viral challenges that are again, as we mentioned, are dangerous and not healthy for somebody?
The user that would be most susceptible to partaking in these challenges and carrying out the challenge would be children who are perhaps unattended, whose consumption in media or consumption in kind of electronic usage is not monitored. Children who perhaps don't have a strong support system at home, who could talk about certain trends, who can have support at home to, to have support at home who can monitor what they're doing. Those are usually the children who are susceptible to partaking in these types of challenges. Also, children who perhaps don't have a strong parental figure or don't have somebody that can tell them or guide them through these types of moments in life where they might be a little bit more impressionable.
Definitely. So do you feel that there's more of the more safeguard, the more monitoring your child, the less likelihood there is for the challenge to even be coming up on their feed or even really interacting with it, as long as there's a strong parental figure of some kind?
Correct.
What do you think the psychology, just in your experience, what the psychology of a child, of someone who goes something like this, what do you think their psychology is, what their thought process is when they're going through these kinds of things?
So our frontal cortex of our brain is the part of a brain who helps us critically think and make decisions. That is not fully developed till you're around 25 years old. So when a child is presented with these type of videos, it subconsciously goes through this cycle of thinking. It's consuming it. It kind of makes the children or child might make a decision. Should I do this? Should I not? If I do this, will I go viral? And if I go viral, what does that mean for me? So that type of thinking, that it doesn't necessarily occur as it would, let's say, for an adult. So for them, for a child who is of that young age or somebody who hasn't fully developed that process, they're going to be more susceptible to these types of videos and going through these challenges because they haven't fully developed the skills necessary to be able to decide, hey, perhaps this isn't the best idea for myself. And that's where having a more or a presence that will monitor them, will guide them through these content that is presented would help a lot.
In addition to the lack of regulation in the brain that you just talked about, do you feel there's any form of popularity or a coolness factor to these kids trying to engage in these kind of challenges? Do you feel like there's a social popularity that gets involved when these kids do these kinds of challenges?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, we were young children at some point, and we also wanted to be liked, and we wanted to be popular, and did things that crowd was doing. And now in this day and age, what is popular is being popular on social media. So there is a factor of wanting to be cool and hip and wanting to be liked by your peers who are also on social media, alongside not having full cognitive abilities to critically think whether it's something that truly matters.
Yeah, I know. Growing up, myself, I always wanted to be the cool kid. So if it was something I could do, if I could be cool for
Yes.
5 seconds, I was gonna do it. So definitely
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, and it's very accessible, right? So it's very easy to do something like this. So that coolness factor is even more attainable nowadays with social media than it was back then.
Perfect. So now I know we weren't getting too much into it. We were talking about a lot of the the realities and dangers of TikTok, but now maybe shift a little bit on a lighter note. Just a little bit about kind of what you do on TikTok and kind of just the content you create. So just what actually got you started on TikTok? What made you want to download it? What made you want to just be part of it?
So what made me want to be on TikTok was that I saw it as a way to talk about the things that I'm passionate about, which is medicine, healthcare, diversity, inclusion, on a platform that has the tendency to reach a younger audience. And what made me stay on this app and continue making content was that I was reaching a specific group, which was the young Latino community. And so a lot of my content revolves around educating that community, both in English and in Spanish, in a lot of topics within healthcare, such as COVID-19, the dangers of vaping, things like the flu. I do videos around that so that I'm able to use my medical knowledge and also use my knowledge of how social media works to be able to present this information in a more entertaining way. And I've had such a great time thus far. I really enjoyed being on the app and interacting with a community at a larger scale. And I definitely see myself continuing to be on that platform.
I really appreciate all your time today. Thank you so much. I really, really learned a lot. It was an amazing conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're watching On Point. We'll be right back.
Dear moms and dads, what you have achieved here today is going to help us and our futures. It is why we are coming up on stage to collect your diplomas.
You know it's true.
Mom, we love you always.
Everything I do.
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
Hey there, Mrs. Carter. You can earn over 10% on your money if you deposit your savings into our investment program.
You are lucky sweepstakes winner.
Mrs.
Just
Carter,
enter your
Grandma?
contact
Enter your
information
checking
and
account
your
information.
winnings will
Grandma,
be in
it's
the
me.
mail.
Please help me. I'm stuck in Ohio and my wallet was stolen. Please send me some money so I can get home.
Millions of people, especially seniors, are targeted every day by an array of fraudulent scams through online technology. Please be aware.
Oh, Vanessa. You gonna text her back?
Nope. I'm high. I'm gonna hit the treadmill.
You're already making good decisions when you're high.
We need to go meet the guys. I'm lit. Can you drive?
Nope. I'm high. How about they come over?
Where?
Don't make an exception when it comes to driving. If you feel different, you drive different.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart, and so they need you to stand with them.
Thank you for watching On Point. You can follow us on social media at CSUN On Point. You can hear us on KCSN 88.5 FM on Sunday mornings at 5:30. You can watch us on LA 36 and Santa Clarita Valley Television. For all of us here at On Point, I'm Victor Bretado.